When you cross the road, you're supposed to cross at a 90-degree angle.
You're gonna go to jail. All right.
Don't.
This is Gerald Shields.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
He saw an unusually large number of cop cars at a traffic stop.
See, we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
He began filming them from across the public street. No yelling, no interference, no threats. Just recording what the police officers were doing in public from a safe distance.
Nope.
But minutes later, Gerald was face down on the ground, injured and under arrest.
Dude.
Everybody,
right.
don't call.
Putting on cop.
The alleged crime? Improperly crossing the street.
What's the charge?
You improperly crossed the road. You're gonna go to jail.
When you cross the road, you're supposed to cross at a 90-degree angle. Okay? You started over there and proceeded to cross, superseding a 90-degree angle.
I was coming this way.
But as it turns out, that wasn't actually a crime. The officers were just harassing Gerald because he was filming them. They didn't even deny it.
You guys are just harassing me. That's all what you're doing.
No, but you're harassing people too. These gentlemen are just trying to invite.
Now you're violating my constitutional rights.
What happened when it went to court? Did the officers face any accountability whatsoever? Not yet, even though one of these officers was caught on video assaulting a disabled child at a skating rink. But that's where you come in.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's a Tuesday.
On April 9th, 2024, at around 11:50 a.m. in Orlando, Florida, Gerald Shields saw this commotion taking place with around 4 different police cars having this one little car stopped. He approached the scene from a safe distance and he began to film what was taking place.
April the 9th. I'm here on 441 and Willow Drive.
His footage showed 4 police cars blocking both the roadway and the sidewalk with a small sedan that was stopped.
Whatever county this is, they're out here in force. They got a car pulled over here, trunks up. I'm gonna see what I can do. Says we're in Orange County.
The doors and the trunk of the sedan were open. The officers could be seen removing handcuffs from a black male suspect who appears to have been an occupant of that sedan.
Arrest here. They just took him out of cuffs.
A second black male appears from between the police cars and he walks towards the sedan.
All right. Looks like they had 2 suspects.
He's not in handcuffs and he's walking around the scene freely. There appears to be no police tape present, nor any indication that any emergency or dangerous situation was occurring. One of the officers notices Gerald filming from across the street, asking, "Can I help you, sir?" Gerald replies, "Nope."
Nope.
Then the officer turns away from him and returns to whatever he had been doing. Still on the other side of the road, Gerald scanned the scene with his camera, counting the number of police cars that were involved in the stop on this single sedan.
See, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Orange County. Sheriff's car. They'll pull over 1 car.
One of the 2 black males, who appears to be the driver of the sedan, can be seen standing just outside the open driver's side door of the car. He can be seen reaching into the car, totally unsupervised by the officers involved in the stop, who are apparently unconcerned about any safety threat posed by these unsecured and unsupervised occupants of this sedan.
Volkswagen Jetta. Once again, we're on the corner of Willow Street and Orange Blossom Trail. Here, 441. Westbound, heading towards home.
Meanwhile, the officers appear to be talking to the other occupant of the car, who is also unhandcuffed.
Like they got stuff they bagged up there.
And freely walking around the scene of this stop. As the driver waits near the driver's side door, Gerald, still from the other side of the road at this point, speaks to him, asking him if the officers were harassing him.
Why did they pull you over, man? Hey, They harassing you? They harassing you?
The driver just shakes his head no, as if to answer no.
Alright, he said they were treating him right. They bagged up a bunch of stuff. I don't know what it is.
Gerald continues to film as the officers return to the sedan and reopen the trunk of the car.
Now they're gonna open up his trunk again.
Still filming, Gerald begins to cross the road, crossing in front of the sedan, which is blocking the natural crossing point of this intersection. Gerald crossed the street at or near a right angle to the curb and by the shortest route possible, given that the vehicle was stopped in the middle of this road, itself obstructing the path of the roadway as well as the obvious crossing point of this intersection for any pedestrians such as Gerald. The arresting officer, Deputy Alex Vesco, alleged that Gerald walked when he crossed the street, quote, in a diagonal path, then turned to a straight path to walk on the other side of Willow Street, end quote. Purportedly in violation of Florida Statute Section 316.130, subsection 12, as well as Section 316.130, subsection 14 of Florida statutes. Deputy Vesco initiated contact and demanded ID from Gerald, to which Gerald informed him that his ID was in his car, which was parked further down the road.
Do you have your license? You can't walk on the road like that.
I mean,
your license?
I'm walking over the sidewalk.
You're crossing properly. Do you have your license, sir?
I'm what?
You have your license?
Have I committed a crime?
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
This is subject stop. Are you going to give your license, sir?
What's the what? What's the charge?
You improperly crossed the road. Do you have your license
What
or
do you
not?
mean improperly? What was that?
All right, this is your last chance.
I'm asking what the...
You're going to go to jail.
What the law is.
You have your...
I don't have it on me.
Okay.
It's in my car right
All
there.
right, let's go. Let's identify you real fast.
Why? What's the probable
I just
cause?
told you 5 times.
I want to see your supervisor, please. Supervisor here?
No, are you going to refuse to identify?
No, I want to see your supervisor. I've done nothing wrong. He can't identify. How? What?
When you cross the road,
Right here, I cross this road.
Listen to me for a second. Let me explain it to you. Ask the question, right? When you cross the road, you're supposed to cross at a 90-degree angle. Okay? You started over there and proceeded to cross, superseding a 90-degree angle.
I was coming this way.
That doesn't the verbiage doesn't say, well, if there's this, then there's that. It says that you're required to cross the road at a 90 degree. So because you committed a traffic infraction, this gentleman's asking for identification. Should you choose not
I'm
to...
not in vehicle.
You don't have to be. A pedestrian violation is an infraction.
This right here is Deputy Matthew Pearden. He's claiming that Gerald did something illegal. He cites Section 316.130, subsection 12, which does require pedestrians to cross a roadway at a right angle or by the shortest route to the opposite curb. Thus, contrary to Deputy Pearden's claim that, quote, you're required to cross the road at a 90-degree angle.
When you cross the road, you're supposed to cross at a 90-degree angle. Okay? You started over there and proceeded to cross, superseding a 90-degree angle.
I was coming this way.
That doesn't...
Although he used the word supersede, and I don't think he quite understands the meaning of that word, because supersede, I believe, means to replace something, not to exceed something, which I think is the word that he was actually looking for. So contrary to Deputy Pearden's claim, Gerald was not actually required to cross the road at a 90-degree angle, but rather just by the shortest route. And it wasn't alleged that Gerald could have crossed the road at a 90-degree angle where they had to stop the vehicle as well as numerous police cars and officers blocking that crossing, because otherwise he would have walked straight through their scene and they would have arrested him for that. Nor was it ever alleged that Gerald did not use the shortest possible route, which we can see from the video footage that he apparently did. So what happens here where a police officer doesn't understand the law actually? That's come up before. A police officer's mistake of law as to what constitutes a traffic violation or a pedestrian violation cannot provide reasonable suspicion to justify the traffic stop. That is actually Florida law. The other statute that they cited, Section 316.130, subsection 14, prohibits crossing a roadway in disregard of approaching traffic. There was no allegation that Gerald crossed in front of a vehicle, nor in any way impeded any vehicular traffic. Florida courts have consistently held that a person cannot be lawfully arrested for resisting without violence unless the officer is engaged in the lawful execution of a legal duty. Here, because the officer's order to identify himself was not lawful, in that it was not supported by reasonable suspicion that any crime had occurred, much less probable cause, Gerald Shields had the right to disengage from that encounter. Therefore, the ensuing arrest that you're about to see for resisting without violence is going to be unlawful.
It's part of traffic, okay? Because you're affecting the roadways.
Now, you guys are just harassing me. That's all what you're doing.
No, but you're harassing people too. These gentlemen are just trying to invite.
Now you're violating my constitutional rights as to what I'm doing. Yes, you are.
So if you refuse
I wasn't violating no rights.
If you refuse,
I'm not refusing my IDs in my damn car.
okay, are you going to provide?
You gonna let me go to get my car? And then I want incident number on this matter here. I want your card, and your.
What's
So I'm not going to provide you any information on these gentlemen's stop, but I will. For
No,
yours.
Why? It's public information. You can't give me
You
this.
can look it up.
Okay,
These
no,
gentlemen
never
don't
mind.
want
Never
you
mind.
involved in their
I want your
situation.
card, your number. You got a supervisor here, and I want a supervisor out here too.
Deputy Vesco then began to aggressively approach towards Gerald, demanding that he stop and telling him that he was not free to leave.
Hey, stop walking away. You're doing the thing right now.
You're harassing me. Get up. Give me my space.
Gerald responded to this by saying that he was not leaving, but he asked Deputy Vesco to back up out of his face.
Dude, don't do that.
Sir, give me
Don't
my
do that.
space.
I said, dude.
Deputy Vesco then aggressively
Everybody,
grabbed
don't
Gerald
talk.
and slammed him to the ground, causing injuries to Gerald's face, his arms, and his legs. Gerald was arrested and he was charged with resisting an officer without violence. Again, this happened in April of 2024. The criminal charges were pending, and then on May 23rd of 2025, Gerald's criminal defense attorney in that case filed a motion to suppress the entire stop of Gerald Shields due to a lack of reasonable suspicion or probable cause for the encounter to even take place, for the seizure to even take place. Then, like a year and a half after these criminal charges were filed against him, on September 15th of 2025, just a few weeks ago, the state of Florida dismissed that criminal charge against Gerald. Again, only after the criminal defense attorney pointed out the pure illegality of everything that had taken place. And just Googling these officers' names, one of them immediately pops up in a recent media piece where he is being sued for excessive force, get this, against a juvenile disabled child at a skating rink.
Orange County Sheriff John Mina and two of his deputies are the target of a lawsuit alleging excessive force on a mentally challenged 14-year-old boy.
It all stems from an incident at a local skating rink.
Them kids don't belong to me, so I don't know who phone belong to who.
That's Keishonda Brown and her three kids, including her 14-year-old son, identified as JAC in court documents. They're on the left, sitting on the ground in handcuffs, just minutes after Orange County Deputy Matthew Pearden grabs the teen and quickly takes him to the ground. It took just seconds, followed by screaming from his young siblings and others. JAC's mother says he's mentally challenged. Pearden would later write in his incident report that while detaining JAC's mother, he saw the boy ball his right hand into a fist as if he was going to swing a punch at me, prompting the deputy to grab the boy by the back of the neck and guide him down the wall to the ground.
It's a crime. When you look at it, it's a crime. That is child abuse, and there's no way. And when you read the A form, the way that he tries to explain it, it's a 14-year-old kid. What are you saying? That he tensed up his jaw? You're handcuffing his mom. He balled up his fist. There's no excuse for how that deputy acted.
And just like here, he is doing things to people under circumstances where there never is any criminal conviction, possibly because there was no criminal conduct in the first place.
The teen was arrested and taken to the juvenile lockup on a charge of resisting arrest. But on July 9th, the state attorney's office dropped the charge. The office of Sheriff Mina declined comment on the lawsuit and declined to tell WESH 2 investigates if Pearden or any deputies involved in this incident were disciplined.
But fortunately, he's getting sued in that case. And he's also, I think, going to get sued in this case. And one big reason that he should be sued is not just for what we saw there, but for the First Amendment violation that took place here. Because whether or not you agree with what Gerald was doing, people have different views on First Amendment auditing, people who just want to record what the police are doing when it doesn't involve them. And the question is not whether you agree with it or not. The question is whether or not the person had a right to do it. And if so, whether the police infringed on that right. Does it matter that we're talking about Gerald Shields, and I don't really know who he is, as opposed to some TV news lady from the local TV station? No. It doesn't matter that Gerald Shields is a self-titled independent journalist, or whether he's a First Amendment auditor, or whether he's a TV news reporter from the local news station, or even from Sky News Australia for that matter. The rights of access of the media are coextensive with and do not exceed those rights of members of the public in general. If Gerald wants to be media and he's acting as media, Gerald is media. So Gerald was engaged in a protected activity. Recording police conduct in public is protected speech, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. Here, it could hardly be disputed that Gerald was recording police conduct in a public place. There are no allegations that he had been doing so at any time, place, or manner that was prohibited. The sole allegation against Gerald was that he crossed the road at something other than a 90-degree angle, not that he was recording the police in some prohibited manner. There was a sidewalk on one side of the road crossing towards which Gerald was heading at the time this all happened. This was not, for instance, on the side of an interstate where it can be prohibited for pedestrians to walk, nor did Gerald cross any crime scene tape or any crime scene perimeter. There could be an argument that he interfered with the scene prior to crossing the street when he asked the driver if he was being harassed, but it was never alleged that he interfered, and I don't think the cops even heard him. But what did we hear? Deputy Perrodin instead acknowledged that they were detaining and demanding ID from Gerald as a form of harassment.
You guys are just harassing me. That's all what you're doing.
No, but you're harassing people too. These gentlemen are just trying to
Now you're violating my constitutional rights.
Because they deemed what he was doing, just recording their activity, to also be harassment. Never mind that the courts say he has a constitutional right to do so. They don't care. He was physically stopped from recording. He was thrown to the ground, injured, arrested, and then unsuccessfully prosecuted, which also brings up the fact that he probably could sue for malicious prosecution. There really isn't any dispute that he committed any crime at all. Everybody was actually on the same page about what this was. He was filming the police. They didn't like it. They harassed him. I'd love to hear what you think about this in a comment, because the lawsuit has not been filed yet. And as far as I know, there has been no discipline to any of these officers, especially the one who now is in 2 different videos, possibly 2 different lawsuits. If you want to do something about that, what you can do is express your public outrage by liking, commenting, and sharing, and helping to make this video go as viral as possible, because the more people who see it, the more likely it is that some politician or bureaucrat is going to end up doing something. That's sadly the only real effective tool that we have. If I hear anything else, I will let you know. You can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X at JohnBryanESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.